Welcome to another daily support episode of the Spirit Mom Life podcast. I'm your host and Spirit Mom to Levi, Schall Adams. These short daily episodes are here to gently walk with you through the real moments of grief and the journey towards reconnecting with your child in spirit. Tune in daily as you learn to walk with your child on this part of your journey together. Today we're talking about why being in community with other spirit moms is so energetically powerful. This is something I've come to see more and more clearly, because community isn't just about support. It's not just about having people who understand. There is something happening on an energetic level when we come together, and it directly impacts your ability to connect with your child. And once you begin to recognize this, your entire spiritual practice can deepen in a very real way. This is something I want to open up for you in a way you can actually feel. Because sometimes it's easier to understand this through an experience rather than just talking about it. So I want to share a story with you. I attended an event in someone's home, and the woman's mother-in-law was there. She had experienced the loss of her husband and one son. She told me that her other son had to go in for a major surgery. And during the surgery, her son had an experience of seeing his dad and brother, and they were sitting together on a bench. But with them was an older white-haired woman that her son didn't recognize. She was wearing a purple dress suit with a silver brooch. The experience felt so real that he shared it with his surgeon afterwards, and the surgeon had a shocked look on his face. He said that his mother had had white hair and had been buried in a purple dress suit with a silver brooch. This is what I mean when I say there's more happening than we can see, because in that moment, it wasn't just one person having an experience. This was connection happening across people, across relationships, and across the veil. So let's dig deeper here about why and how community with other spirit moms is so energetically powerful. Because when we come together as spirit moms, it's not just us gathering. Our children are there as well. And that changes everything about how we understand what's possible. When I first started some spirit mom groups, I would hear some of the moms saying that our children are with each other too. And I have to admit, as much as I knew Levi was with me, I didn't really believe that our children were gathering on the other side. And I think I doubted it because I did not know these mothers prior to our children passing, so our kids didn't know each other either. Now I know they certainly can and will if it serves a higher purpose. And where we are, they are. We are energetically connected to our children. I believe that the surgeon's mom was there to support him as he performed surgery on this young man, and the young man's dad and brother were there to support him as he underwent surgery. And that is fascinating. But it's not just fascinating, it's instructive. Because it shows us something about how connection actually works. And this is where community becomes so powerful for us. Not because you can't do it alone, but because you're no longer meant to. When we come together, there is a shared movement. And as moms share these experiences, it builds something. You begin to hear things that feel familiar, things that sound like your own experiences. And that builds trust, not just in what other moms are sharing, but in what you've already been receiving. It helps you recognize this is real. And as that belief begins to strengthen, you start to show up differently in your own connection. You begin to notice more. You begin to trust what you feel. You begin to stay open instead of questioning or pulling back. And that changes your experience. Because your relationship with your child isn't something you're trying to figure out anymore. It becomes something you're actively participating in. And that's where your spiritual practice deepens, not through effort, but through awareness. not through trying to make something happen, but through recognizing what is already happening. And when you're in a space where this is being shared, reflected, and supported, it becomes easier to stay in that awareness. You were never meant to do this alone. Not in your grief, not in your healing, and not in your connection with your child. There is more available to you than you may have realized. When you come together with other spirit moms, you're not just finding support. You are stepping into a space where connection can deepen. And as you stay open to that, you'll begin to experience your relationship with your child in ways that feel more real, more steady, and most importantly, more present in your lives. I want to give you something simple to take with you. Anytime you find yourself in a space with other spirit moms, whether that's in a group, a community, a comment section, a conversation, or even listening to other moms share their stories, you have a few ways you can engage with that space. You can share your own experiences, even the small ones, even the ones you're not completely sure about. Because when you share, you begin to recognize your experiences as real. You're no longer just holding them privately. You're allowing them to be seen, and that builds trust in your own connection with your child. Or you can simply listen. You can read what other moms are sharing. You can hear their experiences, and then take a moment to reflect on your own. What feels familiar? What resonates? What have you experienced that's similar? And let that build belief. Or you can do both. You can listen, reflect, and then share. And what you'll start to notice is that something begins to shift. Not because you're trying to make anything happen, but because you're participating in the connection, in the relationship. You're allowing it to be seen, felt, and recognized. And that's where your practice deepens. As I close today, I want to say, just let this be simple. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to go looking for something big. Just stay open and notice what's already there. Because the relationship you have with your child is still unfolding, and there is more possible than you may have realized. You've been listening to the Spirit Mom Life podcast with Schall Adams. If you'd like more support, you're invited to join us inside the Spirit Mom Life community. Learn more at spiritmomlife.com. Remember, you are not alone, and the journey with your beautiful child continues.